what you want to be a part of. You're going to be a part of a program that cares about you. You're going to be a part of a program that's passionate about helping you get to where you want to go in the future. I know I'm not perfect, but I really hope, I know that my student athletes know I have their back, and whatever they need, I'm going to help them get there.
Hey, line for line, ain't no comp in this rap neither.
You waiting line for line, they keep doing numbers. I gave them the game, trust we live for the summer. Got doctors and artists and athletic speakers. Come learn from my come up, I'm better than P. I'm in love with the grind, I'm in love with the culture. Do this for the fam, do this for Kenosha. You know I got you, Kenosha. If you got the vision, then come a little closer. Let's get it together, line for line with the soldiers. I'm in love with the grind, I'm in love with the culture. Do this for the fam, do this for...
All right. Just like that, we're back in another very special episode of Line for Line podcast. I'm your host with the most, Devon Booker. We have a very gracious young lady in the building today. We have Mrs. Leigh Barea. Leigh, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there today. It took us a little bit of time to get started, and we've been going back and forth trying to get this interview set, location-wise, everything like that, but we're finally here.
Yeah.
How are you feeling today?
I'm excited to kind of, it's been great recently meeting you, and so excited to just chat and, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, the first thing that we do when we start Line for Line podcast, we do the most cliche thing ever. We like the guests to tell the world just a little bit about them, who they are, their profession, things of that nature. The floor is now yours, ma'am.
All right. My name's Leigh Barea. I'm the head volleyball coach at University of Wisconsin Parkside. So I'm not a Kenosha native, but I am now lived here for 8 years and absolutely love it. I am originally from Michigan, played college volleyball at Lewis University in Romeoville, Illinois. So just shy of 2 hours from here, and ironically was actually played against Parkside when I was a student athlete myself. And then from there, had a coaching journey and went to Alabama, and then found my way back, wanted to get back to the Midwest, and really grateful to be here in Wisconsin.
Of course. That's a pretty great story. What part of Michigan are you from?
I'm from Battle Creek.
So that means you're a Lions fan then, right?
I am not a Lions fan.
Bears. We got Bears. Bears.
Unfortunately, not a Bears fan.
If you say Packers, this interview is over and you are out.
I am a Packers fan, yeah.
How?
My dad... We are diehard Detroit fans, everything else. But my dad, when he was growing up, the Packers used to take the train over to Detroit. And one of his best friends' dad was a train conductor, and he got to know some of the Packers because they would play poker. And so my dad would literally interact with some of the Packers players, and then just became a fan. So, wow. Yeah, so it's not like I'm not a true bandwagon. I did grow up as a Packers fan, but it was interesting moving to Wisconsin because everyone's in Packers gear, and I felt very out of place because my whole life everybody was in Lions gear.
Of course.
So it's been a fun change in that space.
Now, I think the world, they really want to know what got you to pursue coaching and what led you to Parkside.
Yeah, I think, my dad was actually my high school softball coach, and my mom coached me when I was younger. So I was, raised around. I think I always had the coaching bug and coaching itch, but I honestly didn't think it was a true profession. It's kind of one of those weird things that you're like, oh, I actually can do this and get paid and have a full-time job. So it really started kind of in college. I was pursuing a physical therapy degree, and when you think about physical therapy, you start here and you get to a goal and you help them reach it. So it's very similar and adjacent to coaching, but I lived out in California for a summer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My aunt was a college volleyball player, and one of her old teammates worked on the beach out there coaching beach volleyball, and her husband owned a PT clinic. And she's like, hey, come on out here. I'll train you on the beach. You get to coach with me at clinics, and then you can get your hours, volunteer hours, shadowing hours in the PT clinic with my husband. And so I did it, and I found myself loving the coaching more than being in the PT clinic. Still liked it, but so I called up my advisor my senior year of college and was like, I think I want to try this coaching thing. Connected with some of my, mentors, and they were like, let's get you in. And a couple phone calls later, and I was a graduate assistant at Division I in Jacksonville State in Alabama. And then from there, was the GA for about a month while I was also applying for their assistant job. And less than a month in, I was then the assistant coach of that team as well. really blessed to have the boss I did. He told me 2 weeks into my job that he was going to make me ready to be a head coach in 3 years, and I laughed in his face. And I thought he was a little crazy, but he did. And 3 years later, 3 seasons later, this job opened up. Very familiar with it, like I said, as being a former competitor of Parkside, and felt like it was a good opportunity. Great administration, an AD that believed in me, an exciting time at Parkside where changes were happening, and I wanted to be a part of it. So the young 24-year-old in me took a leap of faith, accepted the job, and moved in 10 days. And here I am now, 8 years later, going on year 9.
Of course. Now, this next question that we have for you is going to be a very real-worthy question today. But can you just tell us a little bit about the culture that you're building over at Parkside Women's Volleyball?
Yeah. I think when I think about culture, that was like my number one word. I like to pick a word for every year. My first word that I picked when I got the job was culture. Because I truly believe that if you build something with a solid foundation and you do things the right way, success will follow. So that's a big thing that we've been focusing on. And when it comes to culture, like, we want to work really hard every single day, not only on the volleyball court, but in the classroom, in the community, in the weight room, whatever it is. And I understand that my student athletes aren't going to be playing professional, most likely. Now, with all the professional leagues in volleyball blowing up right now in the country, which is really exciting, but they might be in the future. But I think it's important that I prepare them not only, to be the best volleyball player, but then to be prepared for the future. So a lot of life conversations around that. But we actually build our culture around the book, The 4 Agreements. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book.
No, ma'am.
So highly, highly recommend. Great book, The 4 Agreements. But the 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word, so speaking with integrity, using your word in truth and love. And so that one, we talk a lot about how do you talk about yourself? How do you, what's your inner dialogue? How are you speaking to your teammates? How are you speaking to anyone that you interact with? The second one is don't take anything personal, right? Everybody has their own story. Everybody's bringing something to the table that you don't know. So you can't, somebody's reaction is not about you, it's about them. Don't make assumptions, which is my favorite, because if, any student athlete out there, I used to do the same thing, knows that you're trying to get a vibe of what coach is like the moment they walk in. So trying to, make sure that they aren't assuming I'm going to have a bad day, or that a teammate is, or they didn't see them. Like, give people the benefit of the doubt. You don't know what they're going through. And then always do your best is the last of the 4 agreements. And so that one speaks for itself and has been a part of it for the whole time. So it's not original, but by that book, we've really created this foundation of success, this foundation of how we carry ourselves, this foundation of care and love and togetherness. And I think it's really led to, a lot of success on the volleyball court, and even we can see future success here soon.
Sounds great. Now, when it comes to your team, can you just tell us a bit about your playing identity that you have as a team?
We play hard or intense, and we like to have fun. Like, if we're I'm one of those, again, if you control the things that you can control and you're working really hard, we're going to have fun when we do it. Effort is important to me, and just having a chip on your shoulder. You have to work really hard and have a little bit of a blue collar mentality when it comes to, playing and being a student athlete at Parkside. And that's what our team has. Our team has really embraced that. They don't take anything for granted. They know that they have to work for everything. But they're also just really kind and genuine people that will step up and do what they need to do. They carry themselves really well. They're respectful in the classroom. They have such high achievement in the classroom. It's really cool to watch them succeed and prepare for their future. But yeah, like, I would hope when people come and watch us, they would have a lot of fun watching us compete and watching us play together and play together as a team. The team, my student athletes who are on the bench are the biggest fans of the people that are on the court. And then you see the people on the court who are then engaging with the student athletes off the court in timeouts, asking for advice, asking for a hype up, whatever it might be. So you see this interconnected team when you come and watch us play.
Of course. Now, I know you spoke a little bit to it already. I'm setting them up for success outside of volleyball as well, too. But what would you say are the skills that you hope that your athletes gain from the program under your tenure?
I think college-aged kids of any kind, I think it's for the most transformational years of your life. You know, you're kind of in a new structure. You're figuring out what you're interested in. It's the first time you get to choose what you want to study and choose what you want to pursue. So I think that's really cool. And coaching young women and young girls, you know, I want them to feel confident and brave. You know, society is kind of built, and we're getting away from that, but they teach girls to be perfect, not brave. And another book that I love is Brave, Not Perfect. But, you know, I want them to feel empowered to go for that job, go for that. Maybe they're not, you know, they check 6 out of 10 boxes, but not 10 out of 10 boxes on that job application. We'll go for it because I know that I can bring value. I want them to feel confident that if there is conflict in their workplace, they know how to have a tough conversation and know that it's not personal. I want them to be resilient and know that life has ups and downs. And even in your lowest moments, you can still, you know, succeed and you can still get work done. But it's also okay to ask for help and to lean on each other. And I think, you know, sports adds that really, you know, unique thing. So those are some of the main things that, you know, I'm very passionate about, really empowering young women to be strong, brave, confident people going into their futures.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, when it comes to the whole recruiting process, what is the Parkside experience that you sell to the recruits?
Yeah, you know, we are really big on achieving history. You know, there's things that we want to do in this program that have never been done, and we've already checked a couple of those off. You know, like we hosted our first ever playoff conference match in 2023, you know, and we want people to be excited about hanging a banner in that gym. And even if they aren't part of that exact team, them to feel like I was a part of that because I helped build and helped continue that culture to get to that point.
I walked so they can run.
Yes, exactly. And I've even seen that with our alum, you know, some of the success we've had, like they reach back out. They're really excited. They come back to watch matches, like they're supporting the program currently. And, you know, there's young student athletes who want my current student athletes to beat their records that they set. They're like, no, you go beat it. That's what they're for. So that's been a really cool, you know, thing. But, you know, when it comes to what you want to be a part of, you're going to be a part of a program that cares about you. You're going to be a part of a program that's passionate about helping you get to where you want to go in the future. I know I'm not perfect, but I really hope, I know that my student athletes know I have their back, and whatever they need, I'm going to help them get there. Yeah, so I would say that. And, you know, we have a great, you know, Parkside's academic just portfolio is unbelievable. We have fantastic professors that take really good care of our students. We have great support staff that are passionate about helping them get to where they want to go. So it's not just my athletic, you know, the volleyball program, the athletic department is supportive, across campus is supportive. Like everyone is truly invested in making sure our student athletes, you know, are prepared for their future. And so that's a really special thing to have, being a smaller community and everything.
Yes, ma'am. No, I think this would be a real worthy question right here, for real. This is the actual real worthy question, Kev. I'm sorry. But yeah, so we have a lot of student athletes. As a coach, how do you measure life beyond wins and losses?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Long-term success as well.
Yeah, I think it's so easy to attach your worth to a win and a loss. And I've said this very, especially our student athletes right now in the world that they are growing up in, and social media and everything, like everything is out there. And, you know, it's just highlight reels. And you don't realize that, like, all the hard work is actually what you'll, like, be appreciative of behind the scenes. You're going to remember, yes, you'll remember those big wins. You'll remember the tough losses, but it's the moments with your teammates in a locker room. It's the moments on the bus. It's the trips that you're taking, you know, with this. It's the odd things that happen that are silly and you never forget. It's that really tough practice that your coach put you through and you guys are like, yo, do you remember when coach was like that? Like, do you remember that practice? Those are the type of moments that, you know, really are special and that you remember years down the road. And then when you're at your teammates' weddings, you can reflect. When you're watching your teammates have kids, and then they're, your teammates are supporting you in your career. Like it's farther than that immediate and ultimate result. I think that results are in the moment. Results are fleeting. Like the next day, you're going to wake up and they're going to be gone. And so I think it's always a good reminder that I am bigger than that, and my worth is not attached to that. And if you put yourself in the right mindset and you're surrounded by the right people, and you can communicate like, yeah, I feel really bad about that loss last night, and they can still pick you up, and they can carry you forward. That's really what's helpful in those tough moments. And then just know that being a student athlete is really hard, but really cool. And in those tough moments, like, they will pass and they will be worth it in the end, even if you're questioning it right then as you're going through it.
It just sounds like I'm speaking with a professor from the University of Harvard or something with the way that you're putting these answers together. We greatly appreciate you. But when it comes to personal insight, can you just tell us a little bit about the most rewarding experience of you being a coach and being able to impact these players' lives?
Yeah, man, impact is so important. It's such a powerful word for me, I think. I love that I can use volleyball as a tool to impact people's lives. And I think I see some of my student athletes who, just because I recruited them to the same team, they're best friends for life. Mm-hmm. They're doing life together in the future. They're bridesmaids in each other's weddings. They're, their support group. And in my back of my mind, I'm like, I brought that kid from Wisconsin and this kid from Indiana or this kid from Illinois to one spot, and now they're friends for life. I think that's a really cool thing. And, even just watching them succeed in their careers, they'll call me in tough moments. They'll ask me to be, references. They'll reach out even when they're adults, just to chat when they need it. And so I feel I'm very honored and grateful to be viewed as someone who is a supporter in their lives, and know that, like, it's not just the 4 years that you compete and play for me. It's a lifelong friendship. It's a lifelong, mentorship. It's a lifelong support system. And it's fun for me to be their fans once they're gone and done with their volleyball careers. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to use volleyball as a way to really teach and help them be resilient, be confident, be brave in their future.
Of course. How would you say your leadership style has developed over the years?
Yeah, we were talking about my first interview, right? Man, it's funny to reflect on the 24-year-old that I took over as I was. And, I was like, man, I wish I could talk to that girl. Mm-hmm. I think my team would probably say I've, like, kind of calmed down a little bit. It's funny listening to the first couple teams talk about the conditioning that I made them do. Yeah. But I just think I've learned more and more of, like, life is bigger than sport, that every single person is going through something, and it changes every day, what you're possibly going through. And I think I have continued to stay curious. One of the first best professional advice I got was get curious, not furious. Mm-hmm. I'm also a big Ted Lasso fan, and there's one of those scenes. He says, "Be curious, not judgmental." And I think I just try to tie all my leadership into curiosity. Mm-hmm. Whether that's in a drill, I'm asking, "Hey, what did we do there? What did we feel?" So I'm trying to understand their thought process. Or they're just not acting themselves in a practice. And I can be like, hey, what's going on? And usually there is something going on. So I think curiosity and consistency and honesty are, like, the three main things that I really focus on. And although those brutal, honest conversations are really hard to have sometimes, like, in the moment, mm-hmm. There's so much, it's so worth it to communicate honestly and communicate direct. It's way more kind as a human being too, to be that way. So I really try to tie my leadership around that every day.
Mm-hmm. As we get ready to close out this phenomenal episode, we know that sports are always evolving, mm-hmm. always changing. Mm-hmm. There's always new things integrated as well too. With a game that's forever changing, how would you say you have it adapted to all the constant changing?
Yeah, I think just staying a lifelong learner. I think it's important to use your resources and not be afraid to ask. One thing that I've learned just in general and professional, anytime people ask me for advice on what to do in their professional career, what's next, people want to help, and so don't be afraid to reach out to people who might know it better than you. Use your resources, have that conversation to see, problem solve, And I'm very lucky in the game of volleyball that, we have women's indoor, we have beach, we have men's, and you can take bits and pieces from everything. So, I'm able to use stuff from the men's game and bring it to the women's game. I'm able to use it in all divisions. And how do I bring that and mold that and build it into my program to keep getting better? So I think just being willing to be adaptable, being willing to, try something different, problem solve, have conversations. I'm constantly talking to coaches in my conference. I'm constantly talking to coaches that are my competitors because I want to know what they're doing. And we're all in this job together. And as they get better, we get better, and everything rises. So we're actually more of like partners in this than competitors for the most part. So, just continue to be willing to reach out and be willing to grow every single day that you're doing your job.
Of course. Lastly, as a Parkside coach, how would you say what would you say your goals are for the program over the next couple of years?
We want to continue to still build on what we've been building and all this, the success we've had on the court. We don't have a banner in our gym yet. We don't have a banner for an NCAA tournament or a GLIAC championship, and that is on the forefront of our mind and our kind of motivation every single day. I'm actually blessed that we get to practice every day with the banners of the success of our women's basketball, wrestling, and men's basketball programs that we get to see every single day, so that we can then be the banner that gets hung next. So that's a big one, but ultimately I want to continue to keep the hard work at the forefront, the preparation, the good people that we have, and the team that is great ambassadors of the university, great ambassadors of volleyball, great ambassadors of Parkside, and who are going to go make impacts in their own ways, in their own careers in the future. That is what is most important for me in the next couple of years as well.
Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first on Line for Line podcast. I'm your host with the most, Devon Booker. That was Mrs. Leigh Barea. Leigh, thank you for having some time for us.
Thanks for having me.
You calling or you listening, tune in every week. Line for line. Oh yeah, I'm going line for line.